All right, guys, lesson 2, prepositional phrases, not just prepositions today, or right now. Okay, a prepositional phrase is made up of the preposition and the object of the preposition, and sometimes there's articles, which is the, and or modifiers in there as well. So the whole prepositional phrase is what we're going to be looking at today. So look at those examples with me. A list of cast members was posted. The whole prepositional phrase is of cast members. Of is your preposition. Cast members is the object of the preposition. Let's look at number 2. Every student in the school attended the dance. In the school is the prepositional phrase. In is the preposition. School is the object of the preposition, and the is just an article in there that goes in front of school. You could say in the private school. Private would be an adjective that's modifying the noun school, but all of that would be part of your prepositional phrase. Okay, she placed the glass next to the plate. Next to is your preposition, not just next. Next to is your preposition, the is an article, and plate. Again, you could say next to the glass plate. Glass would be part of the prepositional phrase, but it would not be the object of the preposition. It would be an adjective that is modifying the object of the preposition plate. Okay, so in this first part, all you're going to be doing is identifying the prepositional phrases by underlining it, and then pulling out the preposition and writing it on the line that's over there to the side. So let's look at number 1 together. He competed against very intense rivals. If this is challenging for you to see these prepositional phrases, you need to understand that a prepositional phrase is not part of the subject and the verb. So if you can pull out what's my subject and my verb and then look at the rest of the sentence and find your prepositional phrases, that might help. So let's look at number 1. Who's doing something? He is competing, right? He competed. That's your subject and your predicate, your subject and your verb. Okay, so let's look at the rest of the sentence. Against very intense rivals. Is there an object there? Rivals. Against is your preposition. So against very intense rivals is your prepositional phrase. Against is your preposition. That word would go on the line to the side, but you would underline against very intense rivals. So what's very and intense? So intense is an adjective that's modifying rivals. They're intense rivals. And then very is an adverb that is modifying the adjective intense. Very intense rivals. You don't have to say what those are. You leave them out except that you underline them. They're all part of that prepositional phrase, and you just pull out your preposition against and write it on that line. So that's what you're going to do with the rest of these sentences in that first section. The next part, you are going to beef up these prepositional phrases. What is missing, you'll notice at the beginning, before the blank is your preposition, and then there's area before the object of your preposition where they want you to put in some modifiers. So let's look at number 1 together. The plate with something waffles is yours is what they want you to do. So instead of the plate with waffles is yours, they want you to beef it up. So what would we say? The plate with yummy waffles is yours. The plate with 3 steaming waffles is yours. Okay, something else, so beef that up in there. It says to rewrite it. I'm not thinking it's necessary, so let's not waste time on that. Let's just add some words in there that would beef up that prepositional phrase. But you need to understand that your preposition is before that blank, your object of preposition is after that blank, and you need to be adding words to it. Okay, the next page, you're going to be finding prepositional phrases. There's at least 2 in every sentence. You're going to find the prepositional phrase. You're going to underline the preposition, you're going to underline the object of the preposition, you're going to draw an arrow from the preposition to the object. You're going to leave out any of the articles and the modifiers of that object of the preposition out. You're not going to mess with those. So let's look at the example. She drove around the block. Around the block is the phrase, around is the preposition, block is the object, draw an arrow. And then into the driveway. Into the driveway is a prepositional phrase as well. Underline the preposition into, driveway is the object of the preposition, and draw an arrow. So let's look at number 1 together. They tiptoed around the edge of the pond. And remember, you've got at least 2 prepositional phrases in each of these sentences. Again, What's your subject? What's your verb? You know that's not part of them. Who's doing something? They tiptoed, right? They subject, tiptoed is your verb. So what's the rest of the sentence? Around the edge of the pond. Around the edge of the pond, both prepositional phrases. Around, leave out the, edge is your object, an arrow. Of, leave out the pond, draw an arrow. Okay, that's what you need to do in that first section. Now the second section is sometimes where we put the prepositional phrase makes a big difference in understanding the sentence. So you sometimes have to think about what's being communicated. You can move these prepositional phrases around in the sentence to make them make more sense. So let's look at the example. There are some treats for the kids on the kitchen counter. Kind of makes sense, right? We get a picture of what's going on. But is it the kids on the kitchen counter or are the treats on the kitchen counter? So there are some treats for the kids that are up on the kitchen counter. It kind of sounds like it could mean that. So let's move that someplace where it makes sense a little bit better. There are some treats on the kitchen counter for the kids. The treats are on the kitchen counter, not the kids. So you're going to correct numbers 1 through 5 at the bottom of this page. Let's look at number 1 together. Mariana spoke about her tropical vacation in her English class. It's pretty simple, right? We don't figure that she took a vacation in her English class, but it kind of sounds that way. So in her English class is your prepositional phrase that I want you to move somewhere. Where would it make sense to move it? Well, she spoke in her English class. She didn't have a tropical vacation in her English class. So what if we said Mariana spoke in her English class about her tropical vacation? And about her tropical vacation is another prepositional phrase. It just matters where you put them. Which preposition are you going to put beside that word spoke, right? What is it going to be modifying or explaining? So go ahead and correct 1 through 5 on the rest of that page and you will be done with lesson 2.